Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get started. We begin with a developing story tonight out of Moses Lake. That's where police believe a 27-year-old man killed his ex-girlfriend. He's now in jail waiting to be extradited back to Washington. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk is in Moses Lake tonight, where police are still searching for the victim's body.
Friends on social media say Irina Cedillos was a mother with young children. She worked at a medical office here in Moses Lake. Today, police told her family they believe she was murdered by a man she used to date. Now they're searching for her body. At 30 years old, Yanira Cedillos had a long life ahead of her. She went out to Papa's Casino in Moses Lake to celebrate with friends last Friday. A man she used to date kept messaging her.
Throughout that night, a man she used to live with had been calling, texting, and Snapchatting her dozens of times, asking what she was doing and who she was with.
Moses Lake police say shortly before midnight, Yanira and her friends got into an argument in the casino parking lot. Yanira left on foot. A short time later, she called a friend and asked to be picked up a block away. She wasn't there when the friend arrived, so they called Yanira back.
The friend could hear a male in the background yelling and asked who was calling, and then the phone was disconnected. A moment later, Yanira called the friend and assured the friend that everything was okay. This was the last anyone heard from Yanira.
Her family reported her missing the next morning when she didn't show up for work. Police went to Yanira's apartment and walked into a crime scene.
Detectives obtained evidence showing that Yanira was killed in her apartment and her body was moved post-mortem.
Their main suspect is 27-year-old Juan Gastelum, the ex-boyfriend who police say picked up Yanira that night and drove her to her apartment. He left early that morning.
He was caught on video about 7:30, cleaning his car out and disposing of evidence at a local gas station. This evidence was later recovered by detectives.
Knowing Yanira was no longer alive, police hoped Gastelum would lead them to her, so they kept him out of jail as they built a case. Then he left the state. Last night, he was arrested by police in Hermiston, Oregon. Gastelum is now facing second-degree rape and murder charges in Yanira's death. Police are still waiting on results from search warrants, likely cell phone data, that could show where Gastelum went after allegedly killing and hiding Yanira's body.
If and when those areas are identified, we may be reaching out to the public to assist in the search for Yanira.
Gastelum will be extradited back to Moses Lake. Authorities say detectives have been working 16 to 18 hours every day the past week to try to bring some closure to this family. Reporting in Moses Lake, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
All right, let's talk weather now because it has been chilly the past few days, but those cold temperatures could soon be coming to an end. Let's get straight to meteorologist Jeremy Legou. We allowed him to stay inside today where there's some heat. And Jeremy, we could finally start to see some at least warmer-ish temperatures, right?
I know, you start looking at that 7-day mark and I'm planning outdoor activities. The only catch is you might want that raincoat. Let's do this. Right now we sit at 32 degrees. That's freezing here in Spokane. Quite a bit warmer than where we were last night. We're in the 20s by now, and those temperatures down in the low 20s within an hour from now. So, hey, this is quite far from where we sat just 24 hours ago. Similar story in Coeur d'Alene and Sandpoint with your temps in the low 30s, mid 30s out in central Washington, and a little bit of cloud cover keeping us mild. What you're seeing right there, that's radar feedback right now. Not really any moisture getting squeezed out. In fact, we don't really see any until, boom, you see it? Right there? Northeast Washington, North Idaho. That's a little bit of snow that we're going to see in the high elevations as we get into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Right about the evening commute here in Spokane. A few sprinkles on the windshield is about it. You might wet the roads, but that would be maximum. Next 12 hours, temps dip into the 20s and then start to rebound. Look, by 11 a.m. we're up to 40 degrees. By the afternoon, we're in the mid 40s. Let the warm up begin.
Yeah, bring it on, Jeremy. Thank you very much. New tonight, the U.S. Senate has passed a $1.5 trillion spending bill. This after the House passed it last night. The bill will give raises to troops, increase funding in schools, childcare, pre-K, and Pell Grants. In addition to funding, the bill also reauthorizes the Violence Against Women Act, which provides resources to victims of domestic abuse. It also clears $13.6 billion in humanitarian aid for Ukraine. Speaking of Ukraine tonight, U.S. defense officials say Russian forces could be less than 10 miles away from the capital, saying forces could encircle Kyiv within 1 to 2 weeks. Right now, it is estimated that up to 6,000 people in the Russian military have been killed and 3 times as many wounded. Meanwhile, in Poland, Vice President Kamala Harris announced new humanitarian assistance from the U.S. today. This as more private sector companies like J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs announced they are scaling back operations in Russia. The CDC has declared Airway Heights public water supply safe to drink despite years of contamination from neighboring Fairchild Air Force Base. According to the report, levels of some PFAS in the blood of Airway Heights residents were up to 56 times higher than national levels. It also found longtime residents had more PFAS in their blood and that for every year they'd lived in Airway Heights, their levels got higher. That included children who were breastfed or given formula made with tap water. Despite all of that, though, the CDC says Airway Heights' public drinking water supply currently meets or is below the EPA advisory for PFAS. Just last month, the city announced it secured $500,000 in state funding from the State Department of Health to replace its city water system. Now, we did reach out to the city manager today to find out if today's findings will impact that project in any way. We have not yet, though, heard back from him. And just this afternoon, the agency released a final report detailing the extent of the contamination called PFAS-PFOA in the groundwater. It was discovered back in 2017 and was found to be a direct result of firefighting foam that was used for decades of training at Fairchild. It forced the city to immediately cut off supply to all of its drinking water wells. And since then, the city of Airway Heights has been buying public drinking water from the city of Spokane. Now, there will be a public meeting to answer questions for people who live in Airway Heights. That is coming up later this month on March 23rd. For more information on how to register for the virtual meeting or to see our past KREM 2 investigations into the contamination, just text us the word water and we'll send those links directly to your phone. Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Attention all golf enthusiasts. The Esmeralda Golf Course and the Creek-at-Qualchang Golf Course announced they are opening their courses and practice greens. The Esmeralda Golf Course will open Wednesday, March 16th after a long and cold winter. The driving range will be open daily from 10 in the morning until 5 in the evening, depending on the day-to-day weather conditions. Meanwhile, the Creek-at-Qualchang will open this Saturday starting at 10 a.m., so get ready to dust off those clubs and get ready to hit the course. Home prices in Spokane County continued to rise even as fewer homes hit the market. According to the February home sales report from the Spokane Association of Realtors, the new median home price in the county is now at $400,000. The median price is up 23% compared to February of 2021, when the median price for homes was $200,000 or $325,000.
We've seen a lot of people that are transitioning up here to the Washington, Spokane, Northern Idaho area. And through that, they want to get back to visit friends and family. They want to have that easy connection where their friends and family that are still down in Southern California can come up here, but vice versa, you can go down there.
A major announcement from the Spokane International Airport today. They announced a new airline and a new flight destination. Avelo Airlines is bringing direct flights in and out of Burbank to our area. One-way flights will be available Wednesdays and Fridays. We will share how much those tickets will cost you coming up in just about 5 minutes. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000. We'll send them directly to your phone. And heads up, if you do plan to fly soon, federal officials are extending the mask mandate for public transportation. It was supposed to end next Friday, but that's being bumped back a month to April 18th now. And that means if you fly anywhere or take any train or bus, you need to mask up. The Transportation Security Administration says the CDC needs time to develop new policies that reflect not only the national numbers, but local communities. And that is because your destination may be in a very different COVID reality than where you are coming from. Tonight, former Empire actor Jussie Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in jail after pretending to be a victim of a hate crime. In addition to the 150 days, he will also have 30 months of probation. The judge also ordered him to pay more than $120,000 in restitution to the city of Chicago and a fine of $25,000. Turning to your Northwest news now, the Benton County Sheriff's Office released dramatic body camera footage that captured the moment a deputy pulled an unconscious man from a burning car. Take a look right here. It happened on Monday in Kennewick, and that's when Corporal J.P. Benitez noticed a burning SUV in the Rite Aid parking lot. As he got closer, he noticed someone was inside that car. Turns out the person in the car was overdosing on drugs and unconscious at the times. Well, that's when Corporal Benitez ran towards the car, opened the door, and dragged the man to safety with the help right here you'll see in a second from a bystander. Benitez did not suffer any burns, The driver was treated by medics before he was eventually taken to jail. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. Don't go to bed just yet, though. If you are looking for a flight to sunny Southern California, you are in luck. We'll share how much it'll cost you to fly to Burbank on a direct flight from Spokane. We are back in just 90 seconds.